Hi, this is Dan Partlow, or Uncle Dan as you can call me. And we're in the middle of reading some short stories from this book, Off My Case by Lee Strobel. And we're on the second short story, so I'm just going to jump right in. This is called The Greatest Show in Cincinnati. Why can't you learn how to use a toilet like everyone else? Anthony scowled as he grabbed a snow shovel. Sure, he would clean up after her, but it didn't mean he had to like it. It didn't mean he had to like any of it, no matter how cool it might seem to someone on the outside. Nothing seemed cool when he had to clean up after a 3-ton elephant every day. Meanwhile, Penny rocked from side to side the way elephants do, eyeing him suspiciously. Anthony's dad said that elephants could understand more than you knew. Anthony wasn't so sure. "Hey kid, what's up?" An old man shuffled through the tent. His 2-foot-long shoes flapped as he walked. Ricardo's eyes always looked kind of funny. He never seemed to be able to get all the clown makeup off his face. "What's it look like?" Anthony kept shoveling. "Just the same old poop." "Ah, so it's you against the elephant today, huh?" Ricardo stopped with his hands on his hips, like he was going to fix all of Anthony's problems. "You want to talk about it?" Anthony just shook his head. "Guess it wouldn't help to remind you how many other 12-year-olds get to travel with the Bailey Brothers family circus, right?" Give the clown credit. He was trying. Finally, Anthony sighed and leaned against his shovel. "I'm sorry." He wished he meant it. "Didn't mean to be rude, but you can't tell me any other kid my age would die for a chance to do what I do." He chuckled as he looked at the wheelbarrow full of elephant dung. Most of what Anthony did was a lot of work. Work the ring during performances, help the moving crews, take care of the animals, set up the sound system. Working in his family's traveling circus was just everyday life. "Sometimes I just want to be normal," he went on, and his voice dropped to a whisper. "Not moving every couple of weeks to a new city. Have real friends, go to a real school." The clown bit his lip and rubbed some of the white makeup off his cheek with his shirt sleeve. "You ever talk to your folks about how you feel?" Anthony shook his head again and tossed his shovel aside. What good would talking do? The Bailey family had been running this circus for 3 generations, and everybody knew that Anthony would be the 4th. Had anyone ever run away from the circus before? He hurried from the tent out to the Cincinnati fairgrounds where they had set up, not really knowing which direction to turn. He slowed when he neared a group of kids that were his age, the kind who liked to come to the show and make a lot of noise or eat a lot of junk food. 3 guys and a couple of girls stood in front of a cotton candy stand, and the guys were probably trying their best to look impressive. 2 were twirling around on their bikes doing tricks, but not very well. Anthony pretended to stoop down and tie his shoes to hear what they were talking about. "What's the big deal with rope walkers anyway?" Biker number 1 almost fell. I think it's all fake, like the top of the rope is flat or something. Anybody could do it." Anthony snorted at the dumb remark. He knew better. He'd tried it a time or 2 himself, and there was no trick. Just hours and hours of practice with ropes and harnesses and stubborn performers who wouldn't give up. But when a couple of girls looked over at him, he covered his mouth with his hand and coughed. One of the girls smiled at him. Anthony strolled up a little closer to the group, looking for a way to hang out without looking too obvious. He fished out a couple of bucks from his pocket to buy some cotton candy, which gave him a chance to look like he was supposed to be there. He hated cotton candy, but he would stand by the group of kids while he ate it, listening to while the boys trashed each circus act. "The clowns? Lame," said the guys. "The high wire? One of the performers fell in the net. That proved they were total amateurs. The elephants, dumb, and one of them couldn't do the sit-up and beg trick. And the tiger tamer? I heard they drug the animals, said the second bike twirler. And the other expert was nodding his head. And did you see the trainer guy? He got to be whacked to get in there with those things. By the way they were grinning and nodding their heads, everybody seemed to agree. And besides that, he went on, he looked like he wet his pants. They all laughed at the commentary on the Bailey brothers' most famous act, and Anthony felt his hands go cold when he realized that he was smiling along with them. Smiling along? Wait a minute, what's he doing? They don't drug the animals. He dropped the uneaten cotton candy into the trash and wiped his hands on the back of his pockets. And the tiger tamer isn't whacked or scared. If they hadn't noticed him before, they did now. Well, excuse me. The guy who had been doing most of the talking made a face. But who are you? Anthony, he cut the last name short. And he was glad he wasn't wearing one of his bright orange Bailey Brothers Family Circus t-shirts. At least not this time. Just Anthony. Okay, just Anthony. So they pay you to say that kind of thing? I wish, Anthony shrugged. Actually, he wished a lot of things. He wished he could say something smart and that he'd found some other place to take a break from shoveling the elephant dung. So what makes you the expert? The kid on the bike number 1 wasn't going to let this drop so easily. What else could Anthony say? Because my dad is the tiger tamer you're talking about. There, he said it. And I guess I'd know if he was crazy or scared. In case you're wondering, he's not either. Well, that pretty much did it. As all the kids stared at him, Anthony backed up a couple of steps and stumbled into the trash can. You're not kidding, are you? Asked the girl who had first smiled at him. So your dad really? Are you really? My last name is Bailey. Anthony dug his hands into his pocket and jerked his thumb at the hanging circus sign. Yeah, that's me. So much for making friends. Now he was back to being part of the freak show. Only this time he wasn't so sure it was such a horrible thing. After all, he wasn't going to change his name or anything, and something in his pocket gave him an idea. He pulled out a fistful of free passes, the kind they give to newspaper reporters and other VIPs, and he held them out to the group. Maybe you want to check out the show again, now that you know it's not fake. Well, who would say no to free passes? Anthony smiled as he gave them each one. This time, though, nobody mentioned lame clowns or drugged animals. So I'll see you at the show, he told them as he turned to go. And this time he looked up at the Bailey Brothers sign and he smiled. Well, imagine how Anthony felt when he heard people making fun of his father. And what did he say that made a difference? You know, some people think Jesus hypnotized his followers and disciples. Others just make fun of him. What would you say to someone who acts that way? I'd like to read you a verse from the Bible. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its taste, how can it be restored? You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but they put it on a stand so it can give light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. We don't have to be afraid of letting people know that we're Christian. We don't have to be afraid of having conversations of faith with them. Not everyone is going to accept it, but most people are usually pretty respectful. I'll leave you with one last little story. When I was in 4th grade, I moved from one school to another. The first question I was asked when I went into the classroom, meet all the other students, wasn't, so do you play baseball, you play football, what do you like to do? It was, so are you Jewish? And I didn't really know what the kids meant. I knew Jesus was Jewish, and so I said, do you mean like Jesus? And they all laughed. And then they said, we don't believe in Jesus. And that was really the first time it ever occurred to me that there were people in this world that didn't put their faith in Jesus. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I knew Jesus at that point. I had a relationship with him. I loved him. I knew he loved me. And my heart broke at the knowledge that there were people that didn't have that relationship. So that's put a burden on my heart to share the good news with others. And there's a lot of people in this world that don't know Jesus yet, but you know what? He gives us the privilege of sharing our faith with others. And I learned how to do it. I love to do it. And I encourage you. Tell your friends about Jesus. Take them to church with you. Just share Jesus' love with everyone you can. God bless you.